What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junk Drummer TV, and welcome to video number 3 in the series I am calling Drum Lessons from a Quarantine. Before I get into it, I'd like to remind everyone that I am now offering Skype lessons. Please just find me on Instagram, Junk Drummer, and slide into my DMs. Today's episode was inspired by Beato. He just did a video playing and breaking down the very first song that he ever learned how to play and how that influenced him in his career. If you've not watched Beato, what are you doing here? Go watch him. He is the Gandalf and the Dumbledore of YouTube music educators. I don't think there's anything in music that guy doesn't know. But at the end of that video, he challenged other creators to make a video about the first song that they ever learned how to play, and that's what I'm going to do today, because I obey Beato. If you've watched my Neil Peart in memoriam video that I made the day after he died, I tell the story about how I got to first play a drum set. Real quick, I grew up and my parents were not really able to afford a drum set for me just yet, and I just wanted to play a drum set, and I found the guy in my hometown. Town is stretching it. I didn't really grow up in a town, as you can tell by the accent, and I kind of made a deal with this guy. His name's Jimmy. He watches some of these videos now, and I made a deal. I said, I'll mow your grass for free if you will let me play your drum set, and I did that for months and months. And I already could kind of play because I was in band class. You know, I'm 12, 13, 14 at this time, because I did get my first drum set when I was 16. And my hands worked. You know, I'd been in band class and marching bands. My hands worked. And I think I had figured out, like, all of the basic rock beats, maybe. And I think that, you know, when I would go in after mowing his grass and play these beats, I think Jimmy got sick of listening to me playing the same shit over and over and over. And he never gave me formal lessons, but he did show me things. And I think that he just got fed up. Was like, man, I'm sick of Steve coming over here and playing the same 5 drum beats. So he showed me how to play Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. He was of that age where that was the music of his high school years, and he was a big Journey fan. And the part is by Steve Smith. Steve Smith is one of the best drummers ever. I love him. I use him as an example of how to move around the drum set. I show videos of him to my students all the time. The way that he moves is just like, it's beauty, it's art when he moves around the drum set. And the way that you move around the drum set does affect your groove and the feel of what it is that you're playing. So I think that's very important. So the second part of this video, first part's going to be me showing you that groove to Don't Stop Believin'. There's 2 different ones. And then the second part of this will be how 25 years later, you're in the room with your band and you're trying to figure out a part to a new song, and you can go and access that memory from 2.5 decades before and write a part that's based on it. So it's also going to be a little bit about how you can steal from the greats. And as Buddy Rich said, I think it was Buddy Rich, I know where I stole every note. So again, I'm in Jimmy's house, and he had this double bass drum set up, and I had no business playing a double bass. And he was sick of hearing me play the same shit over and over and over. And he came in and he showed me how to play the first verse groove and the second verse groove, because those that drum part evolves as the song goes. And if you've watched any of my other videos, I love drum parts that keep moving and changing and evolving as the song goes on. So this groove is not all that hard, but it's very creative. I love drum parts that flip what could be a generic drum part on its head. This song could easily be, right? It could just be that. But Steve Smith, in his infinite wisdom, decided to go the next step. Now, the first verse groove is this. It's so 80s and 70s and 80s to play that floor tom on the 4 like that. Again, that could have just been, but he went the next step. Pretty easy. It's just 8th notes and quarter notes. Again, YouTube shred culture thinks that, creativity is only when you're playing 15/7 and 64th notes. But that is a really creative groove that's just quarter notes and eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. That's all it is. And then the second verse, and then it evolves a little bit more as it goes on. He puts more stuff on the ride cymbal. But the second verse is this. Genius. It's just genius. It's simple. It's easy. And it matches the song perfectly. And as a drummer, that's what you want. You want to match the song perfectly. And it does. So Jimmy showed me that. And I'm pretty sure that, this was in the 90s and we didn't have the internet and we didn't have YouTube to just look up and watch some far out and exciting drummer show you how to play something. I'm pretty sure I learned it this way. Cross-handed. So I'm pretty sure I went, But since then, I have found that, he's riding the hi-hat with his left hand and doing all of that. So that part became the next thing that I would play ad nauseum every time I mowed his grass and came to his house and played the drum set afterwards. And I'm pretty sure he got sick of hearing that. And then the second song he taught me how to play was Separate Ways Worlds Apart. I can still play those drum fills today. And that was, I'm 42, and I'm 14, 13 at that time. That part blew my head up because I had went from doing, this, and, maybe I was probably going... maybe putting in some but drum fills like that, but very basic stuff. My foot could barely move. Again, marching band guy, hands work, foot, not yet. And that just hit me, and it made me want to play more. When, as a teacher, when you can get a student to play something that they recognize as cool, that is an inspiration to them, and that's a big part of what we do. You're just not an oracle spousing, the information. You got to inspire those students, and man, that was a big, huge inspiration for me. I could not believe that. I remember I came home, I was like, Mom, Dad, I can play a song that's on the radio, and it was a big, big watershed moment for me. So, second part of this video, the art of artfully stealing. So, I know that part. I've known that song forever, 30 years almost. And I am in a band. This would have been 2011, 2012. This band has actually recently got back together. And it's this female-fronted kind of rock band. I kind of describe it as like Southern Gothic Norah Jones. She's amazing. And you're going to see her at the end of this video. And we're writing this song. And this is what I really like about playing drums. I don't really like, drummy drums. I like playing songs. I like playing music with other people. It's the thing that I value the most. I say it all the time. I don't know if I'm a drummer. I'm just a guy that uses a drum set to make music with other people. That's the most important thing for me. It's the reason why I'm not a crazy chop guy. I'm not a crazy chop guy. Not at all. But we're in the practice. We're in the bass player's basement, and we're playing a song, and it's a great song. Again, you're going to hear it here in a minute. And the chorus just seemed like it needed a signature. And if you've watched my Dave Grohl video, you know how much I value signature drum parts. And drums are so easy to play generically. Stephen Taylor, that great YouTube teacher, has that video where he plays this groove over 100 different songs in like 50 different genres. Drums are very easy to play generically. So the chorus was being worked on, and I just kept playing a generic, groove you've heard 1,000 times. And I was just hated what I was doing, and started accessing the memory banks. And then just somehow I was like, oh shit, Don't Stop Believin' has a drum part that could be just a generic part like that, but he's got this tom thing that he adds in there. And as I kept thinking about that idea, it just came out. And me knowing Don't Stop Believin', you know, this part. Ah, shit. Turned into this. It is the #1 beat that I get asked about of people who've heard the record that song is on. They'll say, "Oh man, this song, I love that drum beat," and I just love telling them that is a ripped off version of "Don't Stop Believing." The big lesson of this is learn the greats and let them influence you, because you may get into a spot where you're just stuck playing a very unremarkable drum part, and that influence will come, and maybe you'll get some inspiration. So there is my Rick Beato challenge. Jimmy, thank you very much for teaching me that song, because I got to record a great song that was very much influenced by that thing you taught me in your living room. To give context to the part that I just played, I'm going to end the video with the chorus. This is a live recording of the band that I just described. Her name is Sasha. She's amazing. And hopefully you all enjoyed that quarantine video. Everyone stay safe. Get your masks on and get your gloves on. And keep practicing until it's easy. Take it away, Sasha.
Yeah.